This is Banging on the Drum.
Get jazzed up.
It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to episode 146 of Banging on the Drum. Please remember to go like, subscribe, download, share, help us out, and we greatly appreciate it. And as always, I'm your host, P Dog, joined alongside our other host, M Dog. And M Dog, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, I guess. We just found out I'm a little bit sleepy, but that has to do with kind of my overs and unders. So I'll wait to get into that. Not that it's like a huge sleepiness, but just a long weekend.
Yeah, no, I called you out. Get that energy up. It already happened. I seen
Yeah.
some more twinkle in your little eyes there. Like you're ready to
Let's
go
go.
now. No monster alcohol in front of you today, or what?
No, chose not to go with that at the moment. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we got a
I'm not
sober
gonna.
episode in front of us.
Nobody's getting lit up. So that's all right though.
Let us have it. What are these overs and unders?
All right, so I'm just gonna start with my overs because my unders directly relate to my overs, like pretty consistently. So spent the weekend at Mount Olympus with the kids, and then we also had a basketball tournament on Saturday. So Saturday we started a basketball tournament, started at like 9 a.m. Then we go straight to Mount Olympus at I don't know. So 1 o'clock, 1:30 we get to Mount Olympus, spend time in the pool and at the amusement park till about 6. Kids get back, we go to sleep. I go to sleep, and then so it's probably like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. So not super late, right? Not ridiculous, but I'm laying down, I'm going to sleep. Somebody knocks on the door. Pizza guy didn't order pizza, so he wakes us up. And I'm just like, yeah, you got the wrong room, dude. Like we're all fucking sleeping in here. Um, and then I don't know, like midnight or so, some alarm starts going off, and then I can hear voices outside the room, like, and I want to say somebody tried to break into somebody else's room.
That's
I did not get overly concerned, so I don't know if I was just like too tired to be overly concerned because I definitely was sleeping at that point. And then, or if I just thought I misheard it or what the deal was. But I didn't get like, oh my god, I got to figure out what the fuck's going on here. But
you know that pizza was probably already paid for, Mike.
yeah, you don't take people's fucking pizza, dude. Come on, it was
Yeah.
probably like the next room down.
That would be awful if you order a pizza they brought to the wrong room and the wrong room took it. So good for you, Mike.
So yeah, but
Good
like,
integrity.
what would have ended up happening is they would have called and complained, hey, we never got our pizza. We ordered this pizza like 35 minutes ago or whatever it is. And then they would have been like, oh no, we delivered that pizza. And they're gonna be like, no, you didn't. And then they'll make them another pizza and bring it up. That's what would happen, almost for sure.
So yeah, you'd be screwing the pizza place. So good for you, Mike. Good integrity right there. I'm proud of you because I might have been tempted to take a slice. You should have grabbed it from him, took a slice.
And said, yeah, man, this ain't mine, but you deliver the rest of it to the next guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He looked at me like super confused too, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I would bet in that situation that the people probably said the wrong word. So he probably had to like get back on the phone with them. Because like how hard would that be to or not hard? It'd be like too easy. Like if you got room 135, like you're like, I'm gonna knock on room 135. So
yeah,
I think it was probably order error more than deliver error.
yeah, maybe the delivery guy is the guy who's trying to rob people, and I just was like, you got the wrong room, and then shut the door, and he didn't have time to like jump me.
Oh yeah, there was actually a gun in the pizza box.
Yeah, maybe that's probably what happened. I'm just too savvy for him.
Good for you, Mike. You're always
Yeah.
on your toes. All right, keep giving them to us. But yeah, I get why you'd be tired after spending a
Yeah,
weekend at a water park.
but so like really the overs though are good. Like so I help coach the 4th grade basketball. I wrote 5th grade on here, which makes me feel kind of stupid. But I help coach the 4th grade basketball. We kind of dominated all year, which I enjoy. We got a couple players that can play pretty well, and the daughter's one of them. And then spent the weekend at Mount Olympus with the kids, spending time in the indoor water park and the amusement park both Saturday and Sunday. It's a good little weekend.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I kind of miss the Dells. Was the Dells like crazy this weekend? Because I heard of other people being in the Dells this weekend, and I feel
So
like
I said some Barstool guys were at the Wilderness. Is
yeah,
the way it sounds like.
that's
But,
what I was hearing too.
so Mount Olympus was very, very busy Saturday from like 2 to 6 when we were there. Like very busy, like just asses and elbows, right? Like everywhere. So like must have been busy enough. But my niece had a volleyball tournament in the Dells, but they do something like that like every weekend, I think.
Gotcha.
That the Dells run some big tournament down in their sports complex. So I think the Dells can handle pretty much as many people as they need to. I would be interested at the number of people that the Dells can hold on a given weekend if they need if like the Super Bowl came to town, like how many actual people could come into town.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too, because I can't imagine that there's many other places that could handle. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's other places that can handle like the capacity of what the Dells can do, but the Dells, yeah, that has
The
to be
Dells is like
like
a town
big
of like
time.
4,000 people though. Like the actual
Yeah,
population of the Dells is not big.
no, I know. I want to say it's like one of those towns. Well, it definitely is one of those towns where like the summer population is like way outweighs the winter population. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many. Is that a Googleable search? Like how many people can the Dells handle?
Not sure. I'm going to kind of look at it, but right now the population in the Dells is 2,940 apparently.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
Yeah, which is pretty small town.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tiny.
so I'm going to kind of be trying to figure out if we can find out how many people can.
You keep trying to find that out. I'll go into mine. So my under. So I have to talk about it. I was going to try to run a half marathon and not have to talk about it too much, but whatever. I've been training for that thing for a while, running more than I probably ever ran in my life, I would have to say. And then I had a wilder weekend the previous weekend, not this weekend. This weekend was super chill. It was pretty nice. Uh, but yeah, so I was drinking and stuff. President's Day, I didn't work Monday. So Tuesday, I got back into it and I decided to jump like right into one of my training runs. That's like, because I have a follow in a program that'll be like speed run, relax run, or recovery run, long run. Like, so whatever. And I've never really ran like that before. I used to just like go out and run and however I felt like dictated the pace. So I was really
Yeah.
not feeling like running super fast that day because usually on Mondays it's like a nice, easy, like 2 mile run. And I missed Monday, uh, probably because I didn't drink much Sunday, but I was still like hungover, lazy, lackadaisical. So I was like, okay, I'll throw the warm up in or whatever that run in first, lift some weights, and then go do this speed run. And I did this speed run. And to my credit, I did try my ass off. But then once I got done, like there was shit in my legs that was just like, this isn't feeling right. Like there's some tendons that feel looser than they should. There's some muscles that feel like more strained than they should. Um, so long story short, I thought I strained my calf, which I didn't think was a big deal until I Googled it. And they were like, that takes 6 weeks to heal.
Nah, fuck it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and whatever and whatnot. So I did have a rest day in there. In that day, I was just trying to stay off of it as much as I could. Well, I'd say that, but I was kind of like stretching it and shit, just trying to feel it out. But like I was like, I'm not gonna run on it today or that day. And I used a bunch of icy hot and this Theragun or Terragun, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then I went out for a run today, fully expecting to be like, oh, I am screwed. Like my legs aren't gonna be ready. Like I think I could have rested enough to still run it and
Okay.
be fine. But I ran today and I felt like $1 million. So I don't know what it was. So
Yeah.
it must have just like stretched out the muscles and I wasn't used to like working them that hard when I didn't want to. So that was my over is felt good today. Felt good.
Yeah. There you go.
Recovered like Wolverine. Did you figure out the Dell stuff?
Yeah. So I think it's right around 10,000 rooms in the Dells, but they have 4 million visitors annually, or just under 4 million, maybe. So
Okay.
just over 10,000 rooms is what it said, compared to Las Vegas that has 150,000 rooms.
Okay. So yeah, I think we're dreaming. I don't maybe they could
I
host
don't,
the
no, no, I didn't say, I'm just saying like huge events, like, but I don't know. To me, it does definitely feel like there's more than the 10,000 like places available in the Dells, just or rooms available to stay in the Dells, right?
I
It
want
feels that way to me. But then again, like nothing's over like 3 or 4 stories.
yeah, and I wonder if that's counting like the Dells proper where like there's some resorts like maybe just outside the Dells. I don't know, maybe there's not actually. I have no
No,
clue.
I think the area they include is like 20 square miles.
Okay. So yeah, I don't think that could hold a Super Bowl. I don't think we're gonna be in in a Super Bowl in Wisconsin Dells anytime too soon.
Well,
But
I mean, the fact that like Milwaukee probably couldn't even hold
yeah,
that, I would be, so I would be surprised if they would put one in Milwaukee. I think they just kind of outlawed the Bucks All-Star game opportunity due to something like the number of rooms or flights that come into the city.
yeah.
Like they
I
just adjusted some rules and Milwaukee fell into that they can't do it there.
I could see that. Because I even feel like, granted, I think that knock on Minnesota that it was so damn cold when they had the Super Bowl there. So like everybody was struggling just to get around the city for the Super Bowl, but they had a problem with Minneapolis too. So I could only imagine. Yeah, Green Bay and Milwaukee wouldn't be able to handle that volume. I don't think there's a place in Wisconsin that really can.
Yeah, and so like Milwaukee would only have like 6,000 rooms, 5,400 rooms.
That's crazy to me. I guess I have no clue on how the logistics of that shit actually plays out and how it actually
Right.
works. But
Yeah,
but
me
yeah,
either.
because I want to say so the Dells has been doing a really good job since we were little in like expanding their like young sports, whatever, like
Yeah,
becoming
like
kind of
their
like
complexes.
yeah,
Mecca.
kind yeah, spot or Wisconsin Mecca for like, oh, we're gonna have the state tournament here. We're gonna have the state basketball here. It seems like it's mostly the younger age ones, not like the high
Yeah.
school ones. But yeah, they've been coming a long ways with that. I don't know where I was going with this, but it is a nice little place to have that shit.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep it rolling, Mike. So give me
Keep it rolling.
just the tip. Give me Mike's tip, just the tip of the day.
If you find a toilet in your dreams, maybe don't use it. Avoid that thing at all costs.
That's probably a good one. You ever piss yourself like from a drunk night?
Nope. I don't think anyway. Right. So it's been a long time since I pissed the bed. And I don't think like as an adult, like I've pissed the bed.
Last time I pissed the bed, I was in Wisconsin Dells, actually. So so it correlates pretty good. But in my defense, I don't know if this is better or worse. I used to have, I wouldn't say used to have. I don't know what would trigger it, but I could be the sleepwalking peeing guy. So
Okay,
last,
so I don't think I've done that either where I've gotten so drunk that I like pissed on the floor or anything either.
oh, I've done that probably a handful of times. I could probably count as many times on at least two of my hands. But but yeah, we were in town for a buddy's wedding, and it was honestly like early into when my wife and I started dating, and we got a room in the Dells. Like I'm surprised she like didn't leave me after this interaction because I brought her all the way back up to Wisconsin. She didn't realize being from Brazil like how far of a drive Florida to Wisconsin is, and
Oh yeah.
she doesn't usually like Google stuff like that or anything like that. So I think she just got in the car and was like, okay, well we'll be there like soon enough,
Six hours from now.
something like that. And yeah, way longer car ride than she thought it was going to be. And then we get there, we have our room. COVID was still pretty hot in the streets. Like I remember there was a few people, especially buddies' wives that were pregnant or just had COVID or something, didn't show up. So it ended up being like a lot of my friends without their wives there, and then me and
Oh,
my
okay.
wife. And they were planning on being responsible, which I don't even know how they actually thought they were going to be responsible. But
Oh,
anyways,
without their wives there? And
yeah.
their kids? Yeah,
Yeah.
that shit don't happen.
So I
Especially if you
decided
got a room in like at the place, right?
they didn't though. That was the thing. So two of
Oh,
my buddies didn't because they were like, okay, they were going to be staying in Madison, so not like that far of a drive from the Dell.
right.
So they were going to
Yeah.
like attend the wedding, stay till whenever, dip out when they had to. But then I was like my first time back in town for quite some time, so I was guilt tripping them into staying. And then yeah, they ended up staying in my room. So it was actually yeah, it was K9 Kyle and Kerry Blue Kevin, who've both been on the show fairly recently,
Yeah.
and and yeah, I woke up in the middle, or my wife woke up in the middle of the night, and I was standing on the bed holding a beer can and pissing into it.
Oh,
And
yikes. Do you remember this or she just tells you?
no, yeah, I have no
Yeah.
recollection of this. And the only thing, or not the only thing that I remember, but I remember the next morning, one, so it was Carrie Blue Kevin was still on the was still on the pull-out couch that we had in our room. And then K9 Kyle was sleeping on like the foot of the bed, right where I pissed. So he was just sleeping in piss on the end of the bed.
Yikes.
So
All right. Yeah.
he was not too happy about it once he found out the next day. But I mean, no one was like super mad or anything because like, what can you
Yeah.
do? But
He still comes on the show. He doesn't disown you or nothing. She didn't leave you. She must
yeah,
really like you, man.
yeah, it was surprising, but yeah, that's all I got for finding a toilet in the sleep. So I'm curious if in those like I'm dreaming and I find a toilet. I would assume so.
So yeah, I would assume so. I definitely peed in my dream and then woke up and had to piss super bad.
Yeah, yeah, I've been there
Right. And not like
before
been
too.
like terrified that I was gonna piss myself because I peed in my dream. Right. And then woke up and I hadn't, and then I had to go downstairs.
Oh yeah, I've definitely had dreams where I was trying to find a bathroom, and then woke up and I was like, oh shit, I gotta like my stomach,
Yeah.
like my bladder was probably to the point where it would have like damn near exploded because I had to go
Yeah.
so bad.
And I feel like I've used them in the dreams and then like come out scot free. Like it didn't affect me, but I woke up scared that it did.
Yeah, I've never had it like that vivid of
I
like
feel like
whether
I
I
did.
could remember if I actually used it or not. I don't actually. I'm kind of just assuming that I've seen that. Like I've definitely woke
Yeah.
up from like needing to piss, knowing I
Mostly
need.
dreams are pretty elusive for me too, but I'm pretty sure that's one. So
Yeah.
all right. All right. What do we got for an observation? Observation of the week from Pat.
So I got to start writing them down better because I feel like I had good like staying on the topic that I kind of was staying on. But this week I'm kind of cheating because these definitely aren't what I was expecting to have for my observations. But have
Right.
you seen this Rempe guy for the New York Rangers uh,
Nope. Nope.
playing yet? So look him up because this guy is absolutely awesome. I should have had his first name figured out by this point. But anyways, so what I got from him, he was a uh, 6th round draft pick, kind of one of those scrappy, like has to get to the pros somehow kind of guy. Got passed up lots of times. But anyways, he's like 6'8". For some reason, it was saying 6'8.5". They were very specific about it.
On
But
skates or just like
I think
basketball
just
height or like
basketball
football height?
football height. I'm pretty sure dude's 6'8". So
Okay.
Matt Rempe. Um, so this says 6'7". So whatever. He's a big dude, 6'7", 240
Right.
pounds. But I'm pretty sure like the movie Goon is like kind of
Based on him. Nice.
no, not based on him, but like I guess he's only 21, so he hasn't had like that tough of a come up if he's already in the NHL. But anyways, past 2 days, they do that skate around, dude. Hockey players are just a different fucking breed because they do the skate around thing and the toughest guy on the other team. So he already has a reputation coming in as a rookie that like
Yeah.
he's down to throw hands with like anybody. In the past 2 days, fuck, I can't remember. He fought a guy from Columbus today who ended up getting the best of him. I would say in that one, but I can't remember who they were. Oh, the Flyers. So it was the Flyers, dude. But basically, the toughest guy on every team in the pre-skate is just asking this guy to fight him, and it's just absolutely electric fights. And with the Phillies one, usually those things don't last too long. But you got to look this up. Anybody listening to this, I would assume you might have seen it on Twitter by now. But they're just throwing bombs for just a minute straight. And the Phillies one's like real good. And I think he ended up getting a goal in the game too. And they interviewed him after the fact. And the lady's like, "How does it feel to get your first goal in the NHL?" And he's like, "They counted that as a goal." And she was like, "Had to check the stats sheet." And she was like, "Yeah, they gave you that goal." And he's like, "Well, that's probably the shittiest first goal like ever scored in the NHL." And
I
then
did
like,
see that. Yeah.
yeah, and then I think she asked him like a little bit about the fight, and he was just so cool about it. It was like he wasn't mad about. I do not see how you can have that type of interaction with a person and just like be completely like happy and fine about it after the fact. But I kind of feel bad for him because he's getting like 2 games back to back, just like every tough guy wants to see how tough he is. So he's just having to go out there and like throw bombs. So I'm curious, like this stretch, how far this stretch is going to run, and like I said, like how chill he is about it, and like how nice of a guy it seems like he really is just interesting to me. Like you would think he'd be like a Stephen Avery, like kind of an asshole, but like he can back it up type deal. Do you remember who Stephen Avery was? He was like the guy that would like block in front of the goal. They had to like make rules because he would just like,
Oh, the Stephen Avery that I know of is the Making a Murderer Stephen Avery.
oh shit, yeah, I think it's Sean Avery, maybe
Okay.
Sean
I
Avery,
mean,
but
it don't matter. So like, and they talk about guys like this on the McAfee show on occasion, like because they like hockey for like I
yeah,
guess
they're
in Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh
like
dudes, yeah.
yeah, and they think it's hockey town and like all this shit and right, and so they talk about I think it's Chara who played for the Bruins for a long time and like, but like he would be like, will you do the honor of fighting me? Like he was like all like weird about it and everything too, like oh like I would just love to have this fight. We know there has to be a fight. I just like
Yeah,
let's do
like
this, and so I think this guy probably just has known his whole life that everybody is like, I'm gonna fight that dude, right? He's the biggest dude on that team. I'm gonna fight him. So he's like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I better get good at fighting because these guys are coming. And
yeah,
so, and like that's all these guys that are picking him out too. They're all the fighters from that team. It's not that's the tough part
that's
is
what I'm saying.
you're not getting anybody that is like like
Yeah,
a fish out there, like no newbies, like nobody that's like maybe I might get him. They're like, I got this guy. Like they all have the confidence because they'll fight anybody anytime. And
yeah.
that would be tough for me. But I do think it's more like a professional fight. Like it's and I don't think boxers or UFC guys like enjoy their competition that much, right? Like when they fight.
I think they kind of are at the point where they have to like trick themselves that they really do hate the person that they're fighting, and
Yeah.
it just makes it the training process easier.
Yeah, where like this, I think might be a little bit different. Where it's like, this guy just wants to like throw a few rounds with me, like a sparring partner type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Kind of. I don't know.
the
I've
dude,
never lived this life, so which
yeah.
would be kind of wild.
No, I think so. I'm gonna keep an eye on him, but I think he's my new favorite hockey player right now. So, but yeah, then another good hockey fighting story that I had, which just like blew my mind. I think it was maybe like the first time I was kind of hearing about this shit, like how you were saying Charo would like ask to fight. Like, I think I used to always just assume that like they got mad and then they fought each other.
That's definitely what I assumed when I was a young person, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, but I had a buddy who played. I can't remember what level it was. It wasn't like AHL or anything like that,
But
but it
like
was like
juniors type stuff, right?
yeah, so it was like not affiliated to college. I think it would kind of be like the loggers of hockey. Like I think a lot of like college kids went and played there when they
So I
were.
think guys that are really good avoid college, right? So really good players avoid college to attempt to get signed out of juniors. And then
Yes,
they'll go back and play college if they don't get signed out of juniors, where there's some guys that get drafted and go play college right away.
yeah,
So
and I have
juniors is an attempt to get signed.
okay, yeah, I have no clue. I don't even think it was that level. Like this guy was real good at hockey from like what I knew. He was like the best player I'd ever seen play like with my eyes. But yeah, so he was down in El Paso playing hockey, and we went over to his house one night, and he would like tell stories and stuff, and like it was just always the weirdest shit. Like his coach like wouldn't ever talk to him and stuff, and it was just like the most like hockey stuff, and like he would make the backup goalie carry a tin of Grizzly Wintergreen in his shin pad. So, and then while the coach walked out, the backup goalie would have to open the tin of, I'm probably butchering some of these stories, but would have to like present him the tin of Grizzly Wintergreen, and the coach would take a dip from the backup goalie and then like carry on. Anyways, I'm getting like too lost in the weeds. We might have
So
to
the
have
coach was doing that. No, yeah, yeah.
it, but yeah, but this kid wasn't like a fighter. Like he's probably about our size, if not maybe a little bit shorter.
Okay.
And uh, yeah, he got in a fight one time, but long story short, like he did a pretty good job in it. He showed us like the video of it. He ended up like taking him down to the ice like quicker, which I think like if you're like a good fighter, you know how to like keep people on their feet and stuff. But I
Yeah,
think
right.
he was having like a pretty good game and maybe being a little cocky or something. And then a player from the other team skated up to him and basically was like, "Hey, my coach was like, we need to fight you." He's like, "Are you down?" And he was like, "Okay, next puck drop, like we'll just drop the gloves." So he dropped the puck, they dropped their gloves and they fought. And he said when they went to the penalty box together, the guy banged the uh, glass with his stick and was like that, like gave him two thumbs up. Like,
Yeah, that's.
good
I mean,
job.
maybe like getting your first one out of the way is like a huge deal or something too.
Yeah, I would assume so. I don't know how
Yeah,
many more fights he had, but like I don't think he was the guy that like people were looking to fight. I think he was kind of a guy that like if he got hit funny, people would fight because
yeah.
of it, like type deal.
I
But
think there's some weird rules, like kind of like baseball has. I heard about one recently where somebody took a slap shot on an empty net or something like
oh
that, and they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you do this, like this is you're gonna get fought like a bunch of times.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
was like, well,
That
that seems weird, but okay.
yeah, that game
Maybe I
broke
need to
out.
start paying way more attention to hockey because that sounds like that kind of stuff sounds fun, but I think I've missed like getting into it enough. Right?
It's
It's really
tough.
hard to get into as well because you can't watch it.
Yeah, and we've tried a couple times. I think in this area I could get to enough Predators games and like maybe
Oh yeah,
watch enough hockey on TV. But yeah, it feels pretty selective of where you need to watch it. Like basically, if I was became a hockey fan, it feels like I would just have to be a fan of hockey, like not of a team of hockey. And I
yeah,
don't do a
yeah.
good job of that. Like
Me
I'm
neither.
because yeah, like college basketball, I was watching a little bit more than I usually do. Like I think I watched a little bit of the Arizona Washington game, a little bit of the Indiana Penn State game this weekend. And then there was another game like where I had really no cheering interest, and I was starting to enjoy it. But that's like this time of year has come. You know, it's
Oh
turning
yeah,
into like the
yeah, for
page
sure.
turned to college basketball. So, but yeah, usually I need a team. So hockey, I think I like it a lot, but I just don't think I have the time to invest in getting into another sport. We've tried a little bit. We tried a little bit, and it's
Yep.
tough.
Yeah, even one where we can watch the entire sport in 3 hours, we can't do. So
Yeah, NASCAR can't do it.
yeah.
All right, you ready to get into the Buck stuff? Because we don't have any Badger stuff. We
No, no.
have,
So the last game for the Badgers was Maryland. They beat them 74-70 on Tuesday. We covered that a little bit in the last episode. And so their next game coming up is on Tuesday against. Oh, now I had it up and now I can't
I think I got
think
you.
think about who it was right offhand. Tuesday night, and then they'll play again the following Saturday. I know that the big one to finish out is they might have Illinois and Purdue both left, which could really like set things on fire going forward. So
Yeah, next game's at a crappy Indiana team. Indiana's pretty bad this year. And that's on the 27th. So yeah, you're probably right. That's Tuesday. Yep.
Tuesday.
And then they play Illinois March 2nd, Rutgers, then Purdue. So it seems like at the very least it should be 2-2, but we'll see how this Badgers team has kind of been rolling, because ever since we had Kerry Blue Kevin on, I think we had him on right at the start of their 4-game losing streak when they lost to Nebraska, Purdue, Michigan, and Rutgers back to back to back. Luckily, we got Rutgers at home. And from what I've been paying attention to this year and like all of college basketball ever, is the home teams have just been dominant this year. So no one's playing good on the road. So hopefully that holds true until we play Purdue in West Lafayette.
Oh,
That'd be sweet to get a win there. All right, we'll roll to the Bucks here. So we had, let's get into it. So after the All-Star break, so we kind of talked about it last episode. It just seemed like this All-Star break, all the news about the Bucks, and it felt like for the first time in my life that the Bucks were like the biggest story in the NBA. But it seemed like we were getting shit on left and right. Like, how will this team respond? And do they really want to win? Are they improved? Like, is there too many distractions? Is Doc Rivers was Doc Rivers hire a good move? Doc Rivers is coming out saying, I didn't want to get in until after the All-Star break, whatever. We broke all that stuff down. But in the Bucks' last 2 games against 2 pretty formidable opponents, Bucks, well, super formidable in the T-Wolves, being the number 1 seed in the West right now. So they beat the T-Wolves 112-107 in Minnesota. And then today they went into Philadelphia and beat the 76ers 119-98. So both these games, if you just look at the score in general, the defense stepped up since what we've been seeing recently, holding teams to under 100 or in the low 100s, and then under 100 in the game today. But T-Wolves game was just a very good team effort, but I'll get to what I wrote down. So Brook Lopez started out this game hot for the Bucks. I think he went 4 for 4 from 3 in the first quarter. Then he ended up getting like a weird penalty and a stupid technical, which kind of like helped keep the T-Wolves like momentum in this game. Still a pretty back and forth game in this one until about the third quarter. Bucks end up going on a 12-0 run in the third quarter, which felt like it was almost good enough to put it away. But the Timberwolves are real damn good. So Karl-Anthony Towns and then that Anthony Edwards for them had something to say about that lead, and they were just trying to chip away at it. So they were hitting big shot after big shot. But to the Bucks' credit, what they brought Dame in to do, Dame ended up doing. So Dame started hitting like big threes, fadeaway. There was like a fadeaway 3 in there. There was another 3 in there. And then at the end of the game where it was getting slightly closer, I can't remember exactly what the score was at the time, but it was definitely like within striking distance. I think it might have been 107-110. Dame hits just a crazy like 2 off his back foot and just put the game away. So in this game, what I got here, so everyone on the team seemed to know their role and executed pretty well. Like I said already, Brook got the team out going, starting scoring early, going 4 for 4. Giannis is Giannis and went out and got his 33 points and 13 rebounds. Malik Beasley, who's been our big 3 guy this year, was hot from deep. So he went 4 of 9 from 3. And yeah, just everybody on the team did what they had to do. One thing I didn't write down here, though, Dame was definitely facilitating the ball a lot better than I've seen him do it. So he ended up with a double-double. He had 10 assists, 21 points, and then he had 9 rebounds. So he damn near had a triple-double in this game. And it didn't even seem like he was having the greatest game, but he definitely came up big when we needed to come up big. Something I've been paying a little bit more attention to, which I kind of would put as a weakness for this team, is, and K9 Kyle tuned me into this, and now I can't stop watching for it. But when Giannis goes to screen for Dame, he just doesn't really attempt to like actually put a screen in. And I don't know shit about X's and O's of basketball, but it just very much seems like he's very reluctant to want to screen it. I don't get why. He like stands there and then he just jumps out like before the screen would be used or if it's going to be used. And they just don't play off of it very well. Whereas I feel like when Brook Lopez will set a screen, he like picks and then pops. And usually he's like wide open for a 3 or something, or he can cut and get like a dunk off of it. But yeah, that's about all I would say that was not great for the Bucks in this game. Because Karl-Anthony Towns, he's going to go out and get his. He ended up having 22 points in the game. And then Anthony Edwards ends up with 28. And for some reason, Anthony Edwards sounds funny to me. No, I was right. Anthony Edwards, but he was a stud. Like he was definitely clutching up when he needed to late in the game and making this one close, because the Bucks outscored Minnesota 36-13 in the third, which just felt like the game was over there. But they scratch and claw their way back in the game. So that's what I got for that game. But very good statement coming out of the All-Star break. Like I said before, with all those questions. But then I do think the other question that people, or maybe it's not a question, but another criticism that the people have is, or us people, that the Bucks play to their opponents. So they're a good team. The Bucks are going to play them good. Is what people would say. I think is like, sure, they played that game good, but they tend to step up when they have to step up. It's when they play lesser opponents they step down to their level.
Right. So, but like, is that an issue if once you get in the playoffs, they're all good teams, right? So then you're fine as long as you get to that point.
But I think that's like what our trouble's been with like Miami lately is sleepwalking into those. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely something that bit us in the ass. But I feel like today's game was kind of the answer to that question. So sure, the 76ers are the number 4 seed in the East right now, but they're without Embiid and they're falling super fast. Like it's definitely a team that was limping into this game. I want to say the Bucks were 4.5-point favorites in Philly. And like immediately when I want to put $20 on it, and I was a little late. And immediately when the game started, it like jumped to like 6.5 points. So like I guess basketball wise, it's not like an egregiously big spread, but it was definitely a game. The Bucks were supposed to go out there and handle business. And
right.
just by the score, you can tell they fucking whooped them from, I think, what does Pat Beverly, I've been trying to listen to his podcast lately. So he says belt to ass a lot. So the Bucks put their belt to their ass in this one, but everything was going right for the Bucks in this one. I mean, that's just the description of the whole game. Is like, if you look at the little thing on ESPN where it shows like the scores going apart, it basically separates after the first quarter. So they end up outscoring Philly 35-21 in the first, 34-27 in the second. So just have a huge lead at halftime. I want to say 69 points, 69-48. So huge lead, kind of let it slip a little bit, put it in cruise control in the third. Philly makes it look like it's going to be somewhat of a game, but then they go out and stomp them in the fourth quarter. This game, Giannis gets his 30 like he does. Lillard goes off for 24. One of the cool things that I think happened in this game is Giannis and Dame both had 9 assists, so they were getting everybody involved. 3-point shooting was premium in this game, so the Bucks shot 48.6% from 3, so 18-37 out there. Defense held the 76ers to under 98 points. And yeah, the Bucks beat the Sixers in basically every major category. So I guess a weakness in this game would be they turned the ball over 19 times. And I want to say the 76ers got quite a few points off of turnovers, 28 points off those turnovers. So they could definitely work on cleaning that up. And then another thing I seen just box score wise, I had to dig into something to get another weakness in. Like our bench was, you know how they do the plus minus? Our bench was, if I can do some quick math, whatever. I'm not going to do the math.
Minus a boatload.
Yeah, minus a boatload. Where our starters, our lowest starter was plus 14. Pat Beverly had a rough one in this one. So I think he ended up going 1 for 5 from the field. And he was only shooting 3. So he was 1 for 5 from 3. And then Jay Crowder started in this game and he had 0 points. But I do think we mostly have him out there for defense and other reasons because he did end up with 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and he was plus 17, which kind of surprises me in 25 minutes out there. So I think his spot's kind of the swing spot where you put Portis in for him. And then Portis off the bench did have a pretty good game. So he was 7 of 11, 3 of 4 from 3 and 17 points. So both these games, the Bucks did what they had to do. The team looks like it was put together for a purpose, and everybody on the team is executing their purpose. So that was going to be the answer to the Bucks playing down to their opponents. I think if that was still ringing true, and whatever, it's a 2-game stretch, so I think the Bucks kind of got a fire lit under their ass. But they look good in these 2 games, and it made me feel quite a bit better about this Bucks team coming out of the break. So I'm not as worried about all the fiery rain that came down on the Bucks during the All-Star break.
Yeah, and so I think that over the next week or so, back-to-backs against the Hornets, and then we play the Bulls on Friday. So we got Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So we got Tuesday the Hornets, Thursday the Hornets, Friday is against the Bulls. So should be able to roll through those 3 games right there. And then we have a pretty good matchup Monday on the 4th against the Clippers. That'll be a test game there because
Yep.
the Clippers are good this year.
Prime time stuff on NBA TV. So Bulls will be a nationally broadcast game. Damn, that's late for. So the Bulls game starts at 9 with 2 teams in the Central Time Zone. So
yeah, that's a weird one, but take
I
what
do.
we can get.
Yeah, and I do think on out, I've heard the Bucks have the 4th strongest strength of schedule on the way out. So it'll be a good test on the way out. I do think this Bucks team can win it all. And I mean, they're just going to be sharpening their knives on these teams coming up. So we'll see how it goes. And hopefully, I mean, I think all that really matters is being, a top 4 seed, not having to be in the playing game. And I don't think the Bucks are really a threat of leaving that. Hopefully they can get back into the 2 seed. And I think I would be happy with that, with as well as Boston's been playing and as well as Cleveland's been playing. So should be a fun run on out. But that's all I got for the Bucks. That's my breakdown.
All right, we'll jump into the Brewers real quick. Looks like they're testing out Sal Frelick at third base. Who knows if that'll stick through the season? He came up in the league as an outfielder last year. Pat's super high on him. But given that a shot, maybe we'll see old Sal do some stuff, tricky stuff in the infield.
My big thing is, and like I said, I'm not an expert by any means. I don't think Sal Frelick's going to be playing third this year. I mean, if he's capable of playing third, like I like that they're giving him time at third, and if he can play third, I'm cool with it. But I mean, we got Monasterio, who I think can play a little third base.
It did last year, correct?
Yeah, no, Monasterio was a good third baseman, and I feel like he was like one of the team's leaders in like batting average as well. But it just doesn't really seem necessary, but it is kind of nice because we had Matt Chad on and he was talking about putting Yelich at first at some point. So it does seem like we're a little too loaded in the outfield, which I think is a good problem to have, like where some of these outfielders are going to have to start taking reps at some spots. I think we both.
Or you move them for position players, like the infield position players, but you don't necessarily want to move somebody who ends up being a star.
Yeah, for sure. But cool to see. Brewers went 1-1. I don't know if you got the scores to them, but I don't. I do not. Yeah.
And then I guess the only other news that I saw was that Greg was being, like taking shots at Milwaukee when he felt like there should be no reason for any like hard feelings after his move, which I don't necessarily understand. Like maybe if you move to like the Rockies or something like that, or like the Los Angeles Angels, okay, I can see where there's no hard feelings. You're taking a bunch of money, but if you move in division, and maybe the Brewers' personal biggest rivals is the Cubs, right? So the Cubs is always St. Louis, but you move to who the Brewers consider the enemy. Like you can't do that shit and then think nothing bad about it. So I don't actually like feel too bad for Greg that he's getting shit on a lot. And then I also don't feel too bad for Brewers fans. Like if you're gonna shit on a dude, you got to expect some shit to come back.
Yeah, he slighted us like the first chance he got, but
like the first like 30 seconds in an interview, they're asking him, but like he says something about attendance, right? So like,
yeah, it was something along the lines is like the crowd was packed
larger.
Yeah, and that's definitely a big difference from where I was coming from before. Which I feel like
we packed the stadium, in October and not in April or February, right?
Yeah, and it's just like a weird slight too because Chicago is like so much bigger than Milwaukee. Granted, there's 2 teams that are like split in that market.
So Chicago's so much bigger, but the market share that the Chicago Cubs took from everyone because they posted their games on national television is ridiculous.
That's
like
true.
You can probably find like Cubs fans that have never left Alabama, right? Like like they've never been outside of Alabama, but like they're Cubs fans because that's who they could see on TV.
Yeah, Cubs and Braves did a very good job of stealing a lot of fans that didn't have teams like right in their area.
Yep. Yeah, or like just like they fell in love with a player from those teams or whatever because they could see him.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah,
think how many Cubs fans there would be if Griffey ended up being a Cub.
Oh yeah, that'd be insane.
That would have been ridiculous, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm glad he wasn't because I love Ken Griffey. So
me too. But at the time, it wouldn't have been a big deal for us to be like Cubs apologists because they would have been in the National League while the Brewers were in the American League. Like not necessarily fans, but apologists. Like you can like, okay, it doesn't bother me. And they never played each other.
Wait, the Cubs and the Brewers. I feel like that happened in like 90. I feel like
So that
Griffey.
so they went to the NL probably in like 96, 97.
Really? That
Pretty
late?
sure. I mean, we can take a look to be positive. I thought it was in my lifetime that it happened. It wasn't like
No, you're right. It
before.
was 1998. That the Milwaukee Brewers 1998 season was the first season for the franchise as a member of the National League. I did not realize it was that late. For some reason, I
Yeah, and
wanted to
so
say it was like 90.
so Griffey would have been in the league for probably 5 or 6 years at that point,
That
right?
that is very interesting to me. Yeah, I thought it was like 89, 90 for some reason. I thought it was when the world started and I was born
When,
that it was
right.
that time.
Yeah, so let's just be lucky there weren't like any really like generational talents that came through for the Cubs during that time.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some obviously great players that came through, but yeah, not
Yeah,
Ken
but nobody.
Griffey,
I mean, so Ken Griffey
Sammy
Jr. had,
Sosa, I think would be one of those guys who did that. But I think he
did he?
kind of
I
hurt
don't.
his own image though towards the end there.
But did he? Was he actually that guy that like was nationally like renowned as like the player? Because even in the '98 season, it's not him; it's McGuire, right? They're both chasing that, but it's McGuire is the dude.
Yeah, but I think Sosa was the dude as well. Like I think there was I would say you're right. Like I don't think it's
Like
like a 50-50 split, but I want to say it's close to like a 60-40 split of who was cheering for Sosa and who was cheering for McGuire. Because
yeah.
I think
So
I
okay,
was cheering more for Sosa than McGuire in that thing.
okay. Yeah, and I'm trying to think if like either of those guys was ever really considered the most popular player in baseball.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that year,
they
that
both were.
year,
Yeah,
I get like that year, like everybody's attention is on them, but are they ever like the guy that everybody wants to be?
I
Right.
think
So that
so.
like that's a different thing. Right. So like
Well, Griffey was like swag cool too.
that's what I'm saying. Like, are you that? Like, and I'm trying to think of other examples, and I don't know if I know of like too many that are jumping off the page at me that are Griffey esque. Right. Like
Yeah,
maybe like a Patrick Mahomes might be that guy.
I think Ozzie Smith is
Maybe the
the
generation before.
yeah like the
Okay.
wizard. Everybody loved him. Um, but I think Sosa and McGuire now it's different looking back at them because they both, Sosa had the bat issue with the cork in the bat, and then McGuire had the steroid shit. So I think their water got muddied. And if that,
Well, so they were both like admitted steroid users. They were both using Andro before it was outlawed by Major League Baseball.
yeah, and I just think some of that stuff hurt their image. And then if
Yeah.
you look at like Sammy Sosa today, you're kind of like, that guy was kind of a weirdo. Like, I don't know. He's
I think if you look at his like pre '98 stats, they were kind of meh too. They were okay, is all. But I don't know that for sure. Right. I just think I had heard that.
yeah,
But I get it. In '98, those two were the like that was the world for baseball, right? And so I can understand where people are like, oh yeah, they're the dude. I don't know if they were ever like a guy like Griffey, right? Like that, like had the nation's attention for like an extended amount of time.
yeah. I think Griffey, Shohei Ohtani, yeah, there's guys out there that are just like cooler that have that attention.
Yeah,
But it's hard to do in baseball as well. As I like everybody knows, is probably the most regional of all the professional sport. Maybe not, but does feel
yeah,
like
could
that
be.
way. Like
Yeah,
there can be some real like I bet you like a casual baseball fan like doesn't know who like the best shortstop in the American League is type deal. So
yeah. I would bet to
yeah,
guess
I'd
that
be
I
hard
don't know
pressed.
that.
Yeah, I'd be hard pressed. So, but I
All
think
right.
that's all we got for today. So, as always, thank you for the support. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Mike, what do you got for him?
If you're down the Badgers, the Bucks, the Brewers, or the Packers, you can eat our shorts. Roll.
All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't need my shows. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shows. Beat them. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shows. Eat my shows.